So I'm sitting having a brew and I was thinking how I could help people who are thinking about coming to Shetland, or maybe even you already live here, in terms of what happens in the event of an emergency. Now, an emergency to most people is loss of heat, loss of lighting, things like that. And it's usually because of poor weather conditions, or maybe someone tunnelled through something and broke something that they shouldn't have done. So you end up with a power outage, a power cut. Now the infrastructure here is getting better, but occasionally we do have power outages and it can last some time. So one of the things that I use as my sort of standby things are these emergency sensor lights. And we've got a few of these dotted around the house. And you're not going to read, there you go, that's better. We've got a few of these dotted around the house. And essentially this will give you, once it's charged up, a couple of hours of light. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to simulate a power outage and then show you how they actually work in real terms. So we're going to kill the lights. I don't normally live like a hermit with all the blinds and everything drawn, but today I have, just so I can show you. So we've got a couple here. So there you go, as you walk past it, it acts just effectively like a night light. This one should be there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate a power outage by turning the power off. So there you go. So we have these dotted around the house and they're quite cheap. They're between £12 and £15 each. So we have them in the bedrooms, we have them in the hallways and things like that. I mean, there's even one in the loft. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and you spend a couple of £100 on lights or anything else like that. Just buy one when you need it every now and again, so that you've got one or two where you need it. And the other beauty of having one of these is you can use it as a torch. And it's got a torch on the end as well. So even in an area where you wouldn't have power or light in the event of an emergency, you could have one in the bathroom, because obviously you wouldn't have a socket in the bathroom, but you might need light in the bathroom. So we have them in the hallway, we have them in each of the bedrooms and things like that. So we can always guarantee that we're going to have light in the event of an emergency. Now the other thing that people fall back on is a generator. Now this is my little go-to generator. This is the first one I'll use in the first couple of hours. And it's an inverter generator, and I use an inverter generator because it's better when it's used with electrical equipment, whether it's the internet or computers or laptops, whatever it might be. And this is just a little tiny one. This is only a little 1200 watt, so it would only do maybe, I'm guessing, one electric heater. It'll boil a kettle, it'll keep you warm, it'll run the internet for you and power up the TV and things like that. Essentially that's what it will do while it's running. I have a big 6.5 kilovolt one outside, which is my long-term one, should it last more than a few hours. The other thing that people worry about is the stuff that's in the freezer or in the fridge. Stuff in the fridge will last about 4 hours. That's it. After 4 hours you better start eating or cooking. Stuff in the freezer, and it's dependent on cubic capacity and how full it is, will last up to 48 hours. The more stuff you have in the freezer, the longer that will remain frozen. I mean, it could be something important. It could be breast milk, it could be anything, it could be medication that's in the fridge, it could be anything. So one of the things you can do is you just get an empty 2 litre bottle of Coke or something like that, lemonade, whatever it might be, fill it up, freeze it, and then you can stick it into the fridge. And that way that will keep the fridge temperature lower for longer. So I'm going to show you the wee Jenny, because I started it up today. What you want to do is, if you've got a generator, use it, run it, so it's maintained, so that it's not going to go wrong at the time that you actually need it to. You know it's going to work. Fuel will go bad in it if you don't start it for a long while. So this one's really easy. I'll tell you what it's got. The wee red thing there is the power outlet. So I can run additional supplies off of that with an extension lead, anything like that off of that. At the moment it's running on half power. I can make it go on to max. so it just works harder. So it's a 1200 watt, so that would run, as I say, a heater or so. Anything that you're going to use, like a kettle or a heater or anything else like that, when you first turn it on, it's called what's called a surge. It uses all of its power in the first 10-15 seconds, and your generator needs to be able to cope with that. After that, the power reduces, where it's just heating the water or heating the element. But the first bit is the surge, which is what normally trips out generators and things like that. And this is just my little backup one, which will run the internet, it'll run the TV, it'll run the stuff I need to get by for the few hours that I might not have any power. The big one I've got in a little waterproof container around the corner. And I say, let's just turn this off. The big one I've got around the corner is a 6.5 kilovolt, which will just run anything that I need. There's nothing, you know, power tools if I needed to, even things like that. And these are just really, really basic. You know, there's just petrol in there, pull cord, choke on there to make sure it runs properly and things like that. And this will run for about 6 hours. The big one around the corner will run for about 12. So that's what you want to do. You want to have some extra fuel in case the outage goes on for a bit longer. And you need to make sure you're testing the equipment on a regular basis, so it's not going to let you down. So there we go. So we've got these little things, and you can use them as night lights, because that's what we do. You know, if we wander past, I'll show you now, just wander past, you know, they come on during the night. It's still too light in here for that one, I think. So let's simulate the power going back on again. There you go. So they'll stay on for about 30 seconds or so, and then they'll go off under normal circumstances when there's light, or when the curtains are not drawn or the blinds pulled down. So that's what you need, I think, anyway, in terms of first step survival in the event of an emergency. It's just one of these little lights, and they're cheap as chips. And I really can't recommend them highly enough. We used them for the last sort of 3 or 4 years, I think. And on the odd occasion when we've needed to use them, they haven't let us down. I say they'll give you 2.5 hours worth of light. And if you manage them, we have them in different places around the house, then you can extend that by, you know, turning 1 or 2 of them off where you don't need them, or utilising the ones from the bedroom and the front room when you do need them. There you go. Handy top tips. Shetland survival styling.